Well, we're at St. Mary's Garden again. It's getting near the end of June. We've had several weeks of really dry weather. This is the last time we saw this bed. This is the kale that was growing. It was quite small at that time. So I'll show you what we have growing here. This is the dill. A lot of the row didn't grow, but there is some nice dill growing here and it'll do well. We got a freebie here. This little plant here, that is cilantro. And it grows quite easily. This probably dropped from a seed that was growing last year. It doesn't like the heat. It will grow for a bit. You'll get this lovely leaf, which is a flavorful herb, and then it will go to seed. The seeds can be used in all kinds of cooking, but this is a plant that does not like the heat, and once it gets hot and starts getting big, it will quickly go to seed. This is a weed. Now, one thing we're doing with weeds, a good thing to do, especially with the dry weather, is to, when you pull your weeds, like this, lay them down on top of your soil. Make sure the roots aren't going to get contact with the soil, but the heat we're having in New Brunswick right now, really hot temperatures in the day, that will quickly dry out and add to the layer of mulch, and eventually it will feed your garden. So there's no problem with doing that, and it's very beneficial. There's a dill that ended up in the wrong bed, and another one, again, it probably seeded from last year. These are the peas that we had growing. They're growing beautifully, just starting into flower, so in a few weeks we will have lovely peas on these plants. And you can see how they've gone up through the tomato cage. They're holding on to each other over here, so they will stay quite happy. Now, these plants have grown really well, and I know the owner of this plot hasn't watered much in the last few weeks, and as you can see, they're doing well. The soil is covered with straw, which helps keep the moisture in, and but it was watered yesterday, but that's why it's helping. Now, down here is this plant. We had thought it was something different. It was regular spinach. This is actually perpetual spinach. It grows very much like kale, will grow all summer, doesn't mind the heat, and the leaves are used like regular spinach, and people who are spinach fans say that they really like them. This leaf here has been chewed up by bugs, but that's okay, it doesn't hurt. Hi, so I'm going to show you how to harvest your kale. Take the leaf and the outer leaf, and you break it off down near the bottom, like this, and you can and then the plant will just keep on growing. Some of the leaves got damaged. This kale was very unhappy yesterday. It needed a really good water, but it is doing really well now. You just do the same with the perpetual spinach. Now, a couple of these plants will probably be removed and replanted somewhere else because they're a bit too close together. But the kale is lovely. Now, get the kale in out of the heat as quickly as possible because it'll shrivel up. You can put the stems in some water and to help keep it good, or just wrap the whole thing, wash it in cold water and wrap the whole thing in a damp towel or something, and it'll keep well in your fridge. So this is the very shallow bed that we planted, and as you can see, the carrots are growing. Again, it's not been much water. These turnips have definitely suffered from the water. It's very hard to keep plants well watered with the heat we've been having, and there's no depth of soil here. So anyway, but I'm just going to pull one of these up because as you can see, you've got two plants here very close together. When that happens with your carrots or anything else, pull one out gently, get it as low to the ground as you can, pull it out gently, and leave the other one behind. Try to do this when everything's been watered. Now, this is a turnip. It's not a rutabaga. It's a turnip. They're a fairly short season crop, and as you can see, the root is just starting to form at the bottom there. It'll be several more weeks before they're good size for eating, just so you know. These do not transplant well. A lot of root vegetables don't, especially when they're getting this big, because this tap root needs to get going straight down. That's especially why carrots cannot be transplanted. Now, the carrots too need to be thinned. Now, when you're thinning your carrots, I usually look to see, pull the biggest one out, and when they're a bit bigger than this, that carrot is not ready yet, but give it another week or two when you go to thin, and as long as that's orange, it's quite edible. The leaf of the carrot is also edible. You can put it into salads and stuff like that. Okay, this is another raised bed we have here. This is a kind of broccoli, and it was labeled as broccoli in our plant sale, and actually it's the sprouting kind of broccoli. Very, very good though. So it grows like this, and then it makes multitude little tops like that, and you break it off, and it'll just keep on making more and more and more. They're really tasty. You can cook them or eat them raw, however you like, but they're really good. So here's another one here, and you've got to get these off before they go to flower, or else what happens is that the plant will stop producing. There's also lovely kale in here, and it's doing really, really well. These are some cabbages, and these are put in as plants, and as you can see here, the cabbage is just beginning to start forming its head. The outside leaves, if you would like, you can remove them and eat them the way they are. These onions were grown from seed and transplanted